time on a train with my bike since I had my bike stolen nearly 3 months ago coming back from Thankful Village's summer cycle tour. So these days I'm going to watch it like a hawk. Morning. Just gone 8:05 on Thursday the 19th of September. Now I've just got an early morning train from my hometown of Bath, my local railway station Hellfire Park, down to Dorset in Dorset. I'm down here for 2 days cycling, 1 night's camping. I'm going to head south first of all, down towards Chesil Beach and a thankful village called Langton Herring. In fact, it's a doubly thankful village. More about that later on. And then I'm going to head eastwards through the Isle of Purbeck, stunning countryside, and I'm going to camp tonight at Corfe Castle. Got the 2 Garmins, fired them up, they've just picked up the satellite signal. Got me 2 rear panniers. Tonight I'm going to be cooking steak, chips and peas. I'm hoping to stay on a commercial campsite. There's several I've got my eyes on, so I'm kind of spoilt for choice. We've had a little bit of a mini heat wave actually, almost a Indian summer in September. So it looks like a couple of days cycling and tonight's camping is going to be really good weather. So we're heading down that way, going to get on some minor roads, climb up onto the hills, avoiding the main road, then drop down towards Chesil Beach, or the lagoon just behind it actually. That's where our thankful village will be, Langton Herring. We're going to turn right here, take a main road, and then turn off it in about a mile on some much quieter roads. Just passing the old Dorset cattle market and horse market. All the early morning traffic coming into town, as you can see. Lovely to be heading out. Going to be turning off this main Weymouth road very shortly. It's a left-hand turn coming up here. Begun this football pitch, sports ground by the look of it. Heading in the same direction as that Weymouth road, just come out in a housing estate and then it'll turn into what I hope is going to be a country lane. As you can see, it's a little bit of a commuter rat run by the look of it. Just going to go across that main road. See, there's a lot of traffic coming into town, and now we're virtually out of the built up area in what looks like some nice countryside. Oh, this is a good little find actually. The wonders of GPS. That hill line up in front, there's a big mast up there. That's pretty much what we're climbing up onto. So it'd be nice to do this ascent up on a much quieter road than that busy road. Although there is a cycle path that runs alongside that busy road, but it's a little bit bumpy as I remember. Oh, this is really nice. Just past a little pond, or possibly a river on my left hand side. We climb up through these trees. Hello. We've already gained quite a bit of altitude after a few miles, looking back down at the outskirts of Dorset there. So the main road goes up parallel to us and it's pretty straight and it just blasts through the hill in a big rock cutting. This is much more of the old twisty windy road. You can see there's a little bit of commuter and school run traffic. But I'd imagine if you avoid rush hour and school times, this is a really nice quiet road otherwise. Wow, look at that amazing scenery down there. I'll just stop and show you. Wow, in the far distance would be the coast. It's covered in haze. And then you get that lagoon and then that very thin strip of Chesil Beach. And we're continuing up to the summit where that tower is, I believe. And that's where we'll cross over that main Dorset to Weymouth road, the one we've just avoided by coming up this nice quiet one. But on the other side of this hedgerow, on the right hand side, I could hear the grass being cut by some kind of mechanised vehicle, and the smell is absolutely overpowering coming up here. You can hear it, you can smell it, but you cannot see it as we climb up to what I guess is going to be the summit there, where that mast is. Well, we're up at the summit by the aerial next to a farm, right on cue. There's a load of dogs barking, and this road has just suddenly turned into kind of a gravel track. The new modern Dorset to Weymouth road blasts through this hill in a big sort of cutting, and I remember when I hitchhiked in the 1970s, it used to follow the same course out of Dorset into Weymouth, but as it crossed this ridge of hills, it sort of S-bended. Now, there's an embarrassing story I'll share with you along there. I was thinking about this during the week. I could make it a theme of embarrassment on this trip, so I'll share 3 embarrassing episodes that happened to me. One of them was on this main road back in the 1970s. Another one was at the campsite we may stay at tonight in the early 1980s. And one was recently to do with this bike about 2 weeks ago. Anyway, I'll tell you about the first one when we cross the main road, and I can see it coming up there. You can see the line of heavy traffic there. That's coming out of Dorset. It's gonna cut through the new bit of blasted out roads through these hills, and then it'll drop down to Weymouth. We're going to cut across and do some wiggly minor roads, and some of that is part of what that used to do, come up here and like S-bend up over these hills. First bit of rough stuff today. There's several bits today actually. Oh, this is not too bad, look. Straight back on tarmac. Oh, there's even an alternative footpath over there. We've just come off that rough stuff, and you can see, look here, that's going down to the cycle path, which will then run alongside that busy road into Dorset. So this is all part of the old road complex that used to snake around here. So I'll maybe stop at this bridge and tell you about my first embarrassing moment in my late teens, probably, yeah, about 18 or 19 years old. So we're actually looking down from the old road down onto the new road. I was telling you, they just blasted a cutting through here just to speed the road up. So this would have been part of the old S-bend on the old road before it then started. It would have rejoined it around there somewhere, dropped down towards Weymouth. So embarrassing point number 1 from 1978 or 1979, can't be 100% sure. I left school in the summer of 1976, that long hot summer, and I did about 18 months in my first job working in a clothes shop, Foster Brothers, and they sent me on courses, and I very soon realised just this is not for me. I don't know what I want to do, I just wanted to sample. So I just spent about 18 months just basically semi-employed. I would just sample different jobs and then move on, and I would have lots of leisure time. So me and my mate Jerry, who was kind of in the same boat, he just dropped out of an apprenticeship, we actually hitchhiked down to Weymouth, and we just went down there with, you know, a week's worth of money, and we basically just went to the pub every day, took sleeping bags, slept under the colonnades by the beach. It was just a wonderful week. Anyway, we drank quite a bit, and the old herbal jazz cigarettes were part of the culture in those days. But anyway, cut a long story short, I suppose I'd had a week of pretty poor sleep. We were hitchhiking on the way back. We could not get a lift out of Weymouth, so we started walking towards Dorset up this road. We both had our Minutes backpacks on, you know, with basic clothes in there, our sleeping bags, etc. And we must have been waiting around here somewhere for a long time, and all of a sudden my mate Joe said, Andy, there's a lift. A lorry had stopped, so I quickly put my backpack on, started running behind him. He got to the lorry first. I'd only just put it on, and I felt something had dropped out of it, and I kind of looked behind me but carried on running, and I went smack in the back of this lorry. It was a flat back like builder's lorry, and I broke my nose basically. And I got in the cab covered in blood apparently, and looking a bit dazed and bruised. And they said, "Did you just run in the back of this wagon?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm afraid so." And they said, "We actually felt the whole wagon move." And you could tell they were trying not to laugh. I was so embarrassed. And of course I got out at Dorset, only a few miles down there. I had to go to some public toilets and clean myself up. That was so embarrassing. At 18 or 19, whatever it was, doing that in front of somebody who had stopped out of the goodness of their heart, an adult, to give us a lift. Oh, it's so embarrassing. So whenever I come this way, I always remember that. So that was in my late teens, in the late 70s. The next one will be at the campsite tonight, and that was in my early 20s. That was such a schoolboy era, camping. And it was so embarrassing. It makes me cringe thinking about it now. I'll share that with you tonight when we get to the campsite. So I've got a list of 10 churches that I'm going to be passing. As I said, whether I stop at all of them or whether I can even get in, whether I've got the time, remains to be seen. But the first one's going to be at Upway, and that's coming up soon. You can see this is probably round about where I went smack bang into that lorry, round about here somewhere, long time ago. I can't be precise, but it was certainly on this stretch of road. You can see it's an old milestone there, and this is part of the S-bend, and you can see the main road just over there. That's cut through that hillside, and there, that kind of dark patch just beyond that, that's the railway going under those hills. There's a tunnel doing exactly what that road's doing, cutting through the hills. We've just come over them. So shortly we'll be coming into Upway. It's spelt Upwey, U-P-W-E-Y, but it's pronounced Upway, and that's where our first church is going to be. There's the main road there, look. So it now looks like we've just gone over it. We may be going under it. So you can see it's all cycleways around here. There is fairly good cycle provision. Again, this would have all been part of the old road. Yeah, we're going off to the right here. Yeah. There is actually a railway station at Upway. It's the one station between Dorset, where we come from, and Weymouth, that way towards the coast, where the line terminates. And I'd only ever really seen it from the train. I think I'd had to get off there once for something or other. And it just looks like basically a starter homes for the residents of Weymouth who can't afford to live in Weymouth. It's pretty bland looking. And when I came to visit this thankful village the first time, I realised the village of Upway is really, really nice. I'd spotted the church then, which is why I wanted to come back. And I also didn't leave a poppy that time. So this is my final thankful village that I'm revisiting for the purpose of leaving a poppy. So I'd been here before, but it's before I started leaving poppies. And I believe the church is down here somewhere. And I was suddenly surprised, gosh, Upway is really, really nice. All the modern parts over there, about a half a mile or so. Morning. Church Street, Upway Wishamwell, and Upway Church. The weather this week has been like a little mini heat wave, referred to it earlier on. I was going to come away Monday and Tuesday, which were almost like summer days. But towards the end of last week, the BBC weather forecast was forecasting a little bit of rain on the Tuesday. And I thought, no, Thursday and Friday looks better. And then, of course, I booked my train ticket, which I grabbed a bargain, £7.90 for a 2-day return. Don't know where that came from, but I got it. And then, of course, the weather forecast changed. It's still supposed to be clear, but there's a northeasterly wind. I'm very aware of it here. It's beneficial at the moment, but I think we'll be riding into it later on. I just hope it doesn't make the camping too cold tonight. If it does, so be it. I'm just so looking forward to what's coming, actually. It's been a great start to this little tour. So there's a campsite down there. That's one worth remembering. Gosh, that looks really nice. So the campsite for tonight, it's where the embarrassing camping incident happened when I was probably in my early 20s. I don't know whether I'm going to stay there. If it's too expensive, I won't, because there's a farm campsite nearby, and there's also another couple within a couple of miles. So I'm kind of spoilt for choice, assuming they're all open. I'm hoping they will be in September. But I just want a real quiet one rather than a big commercial one. We'll see anyway. That one back there looked nice. That's where I've just come. See, we're gradually climbing up. That's the hill line we crossed earlier on. That's looking north. We're heading this way. Just crossing this main road, so we've come in from the left where that car's waiting to pull out. Just this short stretch of the Weymouth to Bridport Road, and then we're going down there. There's our first sighting of a sign for our destination, Langton Herring. That's a thankful village. So for people who are unfamiliar with thankful villages, I've had quite an influx of subscribers recently, so welcome to everybody who's recently joined, may not have followed me previously. A thankful village then is a village where every person, man and woman, who went off to serve in the First World War returned home safely. There's 57 in total in England and Wales. Sadly, Scotland and Ireland don't have any. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through a 5-year project to visit all 57 and leave a knitted poppy at each. So that's what today's quest is partly about. I'm going to go to Langton Herring and leave a knitted poppy there. Of the 57 thankful villages, I think it's either 12 or 14 by complete coincidence, happy coincidence, are known as doubly thankful, which means every person, again man and woman, who went off to serve in the First and the Second World War returned home safely. And Langton Herring is one of those doubly thankful villages. We're now on the final approach to Langton Herring, so I've just come this way and we're heading down to the sea, and you can at last see the sea, and you can also see Chesil Beach, that thin strip of shingle between the sea and the lagoon behind it. Interesting fact I read recently was the bouncing bomb designed by Barnes Wallis, you know, famous from the Dam Busters film, was actually tested in that lagoon along there. And another personal little anecdote, my grandmother met Barnes Wallis every time we used to watch the Dam Busters as a family. When I was a child, me and my brother, she'd always tell us the story of how and when she met him. I won't go into details, but it was a professional meeting. You know, she worked in healthcare, and she would always say the real Barnes Wallis was nothing like Michael Redgrave in the film, which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, Langton Herring coming up shortly. And literally just round the next corner, there is Langton Herring. So we're going to drop down into a little dip. That's where the boundary sign is. I'll stop there and show you, because it actually recognises Langton Herring as being a doubly thankful village. Then we'll head up into the village. It's got a lovely pub, church. It's just a really lovely village, actually. Here we are. Here's the boundary sign. Not all thankful villages have any form of recognition. Some have boundary signs which say it's a thankful village, and for instance here we've got doubly thankful Langton Herring. Right, just going to go around the corner, climb up to the church, village hall. That's where the slate plaque is, and that's where I'll be leaving the poppy. So from the boundary sign you actually have to climb up a bit of the ground, and this road will bypass the village off to the left, so we're going to turn right here, and it'll kind of go around the 3 sides of the square and rejoin this road a bit further down there. And that's what we'll be doing after we've been to the church and left our poppy. We'll be taking that road back through Upway, then heading out north of Weymouth towards this afternoon's ride and the camping at Corfe Castle. Lovely little village, isn't it? This village really does feel loved and lived in. I'll show you what I mean. Up here there's a pub and church, village hall, just not empty holiday accommodations. And round to the left here with the church and the pub. Here we are. There's Langton Herring Village Hall, right opposite the church. You'll probably hear me out of breath here. They're short and sharp, these little climbs. So it brings you up this lovely Langton Herring Village Hall, circa 1845. And there's the church we're going to go in. There's something in there I want to show you. Again, for new subscribers, I'll explain my poppy quest and where I try and leave the poppies and who made them as well. I was first told about Thankful Villages by James, a YouTube subscriber. I've thanked him many times. Once again, thank you, James. He said he thought they may be of interest to me. And I realised out of the 57 Thankful Villages in the UK, England and Wales, sadly Scotland and Ireland don't have any, 9 are in Somerset, my home county. That's more than any other county. And so I started exploring them. I just got hooked on them. And then I realised there was these slate plaques, like centenary plaques. And a little bit of research told me that they'd been left there by a group of bikers who did a big tour in 2013. They wanted to mark the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War. And so they visited all the Thankful Villages. There were 53 known at the time. The list has always been updated and modified. So there's 53 of the villages have these lovely slate plaques. I then decided I wanted to leave a knitted poppy as a mark of respect and commemoration at all the Thankful Villages, all 57. So simple maths would tell you 4 of them don't have plaques. It may even be more, I'm not sure. And sometimes I just haven't been able to locate them. Sometimes I think when the churches are locked, they would probably be in the church. That's where I normally head for. They're not always in churches, but they quite often are. And the one here is I know because I've seen it before. So my wife has knitted me all these lovely poppies. When I told her I wanted some poppies, she sort of said, oh, it's like May, June. You won't get any paper poppies this time of year. So I sort of said, could you knit me some? And she belongs to lots of knitting groups on Facebook and the internet. She just networked and she got bombarded by all these patterns. So she's knitted me all these lovely, lovely woolen poppies. So I've got 2 with me today. I always bring a backup just in case. So straight inside the porch, there is the slate plaque. They're lovely, aren't they? Langton Herring, named the village, 1914 to 2014, marking the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War. A Thankful Village. And that actually tells you a story. Look, certificate of commemoration awarded to this community, presented by Medwin and Dougie in appreciation of the support given to the Thankful Villages run in 2013. So that's where I'm going to leave the poppy. That's what I tend to do. I just hook it over. I don't want anyone to think I'm littering or spoiling the place. If people want to remove that, they can always put it somewhere else or just remove it altogether. But there's a poppy there, some felt poppies there. There's some paper poppies up there. My summer cycle tour this year, I visited 9 Thankful Villages on a big loop in the north of England. And at one of the Thankful Villages, if you watch my series of that tour, John came in, a motorcyclist, and he came up to me and said, I know this may sound a silly question. Are you the guy that leaves knitted poppies at the Thankful Villages? And I said, yeah. And he sort of said, well, you're quite a talking point amongst us. And he's part of a group of bikers that go around visiting all the plaques and the Thankful Villages. And I sort of said, oh gosh, I thought it was just me. And he said, no, there's a group of us. And he had actually been to a couple of villages that day that I was then going to the following day. So the info he gave me was really, really helpful. And a couple of weeks ago, I got a message from him on Facebook Messenger. And he said he'd just finished a 1,200-mile motorcycle tour this summer, him and his mates, where they'd visited lots of Thankful Villages down this part of the country. So he may well have come to this one then, because he's actually from Redcar. So that was really nice. If you're watching this, John, thanks very much for the message, and thanks very much for the info you gave me on the date. It was so helpful the following day, because one of the plaques I had a job finding. Okay, let's go in the church. Lovely windswept church. Hear the wind in the roof. I think it's going to be quite a hard ride the rest of this trip. We've come down south, headed west. Now we're going to do a 180-degree turn and turn east. And the wind is coming from the northeast and it's supposed to be in double digits this afternoon, 13, 14, 15 miles an hour. So could well be a hard afternoon. I don't care, I'm just enjoying myself. There's several websites I use for research, and I will go and get my phone in and I'll read from one of them because there's some interesting notes about this church. Font over there. Oh, there's the visitor's book. Last visitor look, 14th of the 9th, 5 days ago from Ilford. Again at New Zealand. Exeter, New Zealand. Right, let's go and get the mobile phone and I'll read you some notes about this church. I always try and put the links in the description below this video of the research I'm citing from. So this is a great website, it's called Hellfire Corner, and it's all to do with the thankful villages, and it lists them all here. And it also gives you some places that claim to be thankful villages, but research hasn't yet confirmed it. So it's a great resource, this. But if I get the list up, you can tap in each one and it'll open a new page. There we are, Langton herring. May take a while because we're on 4G here. Okay, let's read what it says. It says, Langton herring, Dorset, roughly 6 miles northwest from the Dorset seaside resort of Weymouth and within sight of the hilltop stone obelisk memorial to Vice Admiral Sir Thomas Masterton Hardy of HMS Victory. The name of the village comes from the Old English lang and ton, meaning long farmstead or estate, with the 13th century Harang family prefix from their time as lords of the manor. The Church of St. Peter has a fine 15th century font. That's over there. But there was something I wanted to tell you here. Let's just see if I can find it. It says, there is no war memorial in the village, but just in the porch of St. Peter's Church is a fine wooden roll of honour from the Great War, 1914 to 1918, naming the 31 men of the village who went to fight. The service of 11 of the 31 was at sea. 10 were members of the Royal Navy and 1 Royal Naval Reserve. Of all the thankful villages with a roll of honour with names of each man's unit, this one at Langton Herring has the largest proportion who served at sea. This probably reflects the proximity of the Portland Naval Base near Weymouth. And there, back outside in the porch, there is that memorial. You can see all the RNs, RNR, that's that Naval Reserve. I've just left Langton Herring, climbed up out of the village, joined this road up to the trees there. Thought I'd give you a quick 360. So that's looking over at the sea, very hazy in the distance. That's looking back up towards the ridge. That's that long line of hills that I climbed up out of Dorset. Then I've been kind of running along this way, halfway down them. And there's what looks like some kind of remains of an ancient monument there. Get this glorious countryside look. And that's kind of the way we're heading. I'm now at St Nicholas Church at Buckland Ripers. I did say I'd tell you about 3 embarrassing incidents. Well, the final one at the campsite I'll tell you when I get there this evening, but I'll tell you about the recent one. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I had my Caribou touring bike stolen back in June, 20 odd years old. I came to really love it and cherish it. I realised then I would have to replace it with something modern. I didn't really have a clue what I was looking for. And in the end, I just took a chance on this giant TCR2 tough road bike. and I've come to really like it. But I knew there's a lot of modern technology on there I'd have to get my head around, namely disc brakes, and all the geometry and everything's different. And I thought the tyres were tubeless. I kind of read that they were tubeless, but didn't investigate it that much. As I said, I ordered it through the Giant website, and they actually sent it to Avon Valley Cyclery, who made it roadworthy for me, and they've told me take it back, in 6 weeks, and they'll do a free service, a 6-week service. I was beginning to wonder if the tyres were tubeless, because I watched a load of YouTube videos, and I understand that there's sealant inside that would self-repair any small punctures. You may have to just top it up with a bit of air, or you get these repair kits if the hole's too big. It's like a worm you put inside and then reflate, and it should seal the hole. Worst comes to worst, you can put in an inner tube in the conventional way. So I haven't bought any sealant, but I've bought like the core valve remover, and I've bought the syringe, to pump the fluid in when I got round to eventually doing it. And I began to wonder, are these actually tubeless? I was starting to have doubts. So when I took it in to book the 6-week service, I said to the guy, I know this is a stupid question, are these tubeless tyres? And he said, what does it say on the tyre? And I sort of said, it doesn't say anything. When I read the website, it actually says they're tubeless ready, all Giant bikes, but not this one in particular. He just touched the valve, like the nut that holds the valve, and he said, no, they're inner tubes. And I said, how can you tell? He sort of said, that's how we tell. So I feel a bit embarrassed by that. I've been telling everyone, I've got tubeless tyres, they should seal if I puncture. I've been and got all the kit to seal them if I need to. Looks like I might be able to get in the church. Somebody just come to open it up. So anyway, I wanted to be sure that, I wanted to be confident I could actually mend a puncture out in the wild. I need to find out they're actually in a tube. So hey ho. But I think what I'm going to try and do is actually pump some sealant into the inner tubes. Apparently some people do that, and they say it does help seal inner tubes from punctures. Whether there's anything in that or not, I don't know, but I am actually going to try it. So embarrassing moment number 2, the third one, I'll tell you when we get to the campsite tonight. Meanwhile, I'm going to go in the church and see if I can have a look around. You can actually see, can't you, the different widths of the church. Oh, yeah. Just had a good look around the church and a guided tour. So I popped my head round, said, would it be okay to look around? He said, yeah, of course it is. I said, are you the key holder? He said, I'm the church warden. I said, I just like looking around old churches. He said, I can give you a bit of a guided tour if you want. And that's exactly what he did. And I don't want to make the video too long, but he told me some really interesting things about the church. That was just lovely. He said they've had a theft problem there. It's so remote, so this is why they keep it padlocked, and he comes down and opens it during the day. It's crossing a little stream here. We're down in a little valley, so I've got to grind back up a hill now. So I'm heading that way. I came in from the left and I saw that sign saying Church Lane. I just thought, no through road, I'll go down there, which is what I did. I'm so glad I did now. You may hear from the wind though, it's getting quite blustery. But it's not a cold wind. I thought it may be a icy cold wind, being a northeasterly. It's not, luckily. Apart from the wind, it's a lovely day. A bit of a grind out of Preston up to Northdown. A lot of this I could do on the pavement, and then there's this final bit up to the summit was main road. Traffic's died down a bit. Looking back across Weymouth Bay, very hazy. See all the breakwaters. That's big Portland Island out there. And then right behind me, there's the Osmington White Horse. At Osmington, I turned off that main road down Chapel Lane, which was a relief. Very hot and sweaty and busy road, so it's a relief to get off that. And then it just fizzled out into this track. And I know there's some sections of rough stuff today. I don't think any of them are more than a mile. And at the end of the day, this is marketed as a gravel bike, so it should be able to cope with it. And I like riding off-road, as long as there's no time constraint. Now, I've just checked my Garmin clock. If you pause the 130, it'll give you a readout of the time, and it's 1:10, so I'm doing fine for time. Oh, this is starting to open up a bit. Good test for this bike, because this is the sort of kind of treatment I want to try it on. This is what I enjoy. Sections of rough stuff, especially when it takes me to remote and out the way places, and even better when it's avoiding a busy road. This kind of looks like a farm track now, and it's suddenly opened up again. Although this is hot and sweaty work, this is nicer than doing hot and sweaty work with lots of traffic zooming by you. Going to get some good views up the top of there. That sign there says almost there. Someone's sense of humour. That can't be the name of a house, surely. You can just see a hazy bit of sea in between the dip there. It's a lovely day. Oh, I'm so looking forward to camping tonight, I really am. I said last few months I've been longing for commercial campsites, and the one I had final camping night on my June cycle tour, then the one recently at Wales, was just so enjoyable. That's what I'm looking to do now. I'm not going to give up wild camping. Probably in the winter I'll have to wild camp, but on days like this I just want to get to a small farm, commercial, tucked away campsite, have a shower, sit outside with a beer on my seat and my table, and a meal after a decent day's riding. Right, let's press on up here. Couple of hikers coming. It's getting really nice now, back on some quiet roads. That big elevated section over there, that's that big ridge that runs along and then goes down, and you'll see it on the other side of Swanage Bay. I've actually entered Swanage before by climbing up there and going along the top and dropping down at the last minute. So I think we've got something like 7.5 miles, 6.9 miles to go, the campsite. So it's not even 3 o'clock, so plenty of time. If I see a shop, I'll get some beer. If not, I'll just overshoot and go to Corfe Castle and then backtrack. This is really nice. We're on the edge of Wareham Forest, so there's some nice tree overhangs along here. The shade is very welcome. Cross a little stream there, little ford. I've now done a big long climb up onto a ridge. I knew this was coming towards the end of the road, but the Garmin says 3.1 miles to go to the campsite, which is on the outskirts of Corfe Castle. So I probably will check out the campsites as I go by, then head into Corfe Castle itself, have a look around, got plenty of time, then head for the post office, village shop, see if I can pick up some beer. Oh, this is nice. Oh, this is really nice, this village perched up on this hilltop. Pond. Oh, this is really nice. Just do with an ice cream now. Tea rooms. Can see a big built up area over there. Not quite sure what that is, whether it's Bournemouth Pool. And there's a caravan park and campsite here as well. Lots of ponds up here. Really nice. I'm going to press on now. Oh, this is stunning, isn't it? So we are going up over that in front of us by the look of it. There's a big S-bend on my Garmin. Then it's all downhill to the campsite, I think. I think this will eventually take me up onto a big high point, and then we'll drop down and run alongside into Corfe that way. And I'm pretty sure that is Bournemouth and Poole I'm looking at across there, because if we go over here it'd be the sea when we drop down, then that way would be Isle of Purbeck, you know, the Sandbanks ferry across over there. So yeah, I think I've just added in a final climb right at the end needlessly, but hey, there's going to be some good views up here. Here is my summit. So that road going along there is a hedgerow. That's what I'm going to drop down to and go along to the left. So off this hillside, then turn left at the bottom. Here we are, we're going to turn left here. There we are, Corfe Castle itself, 2 miles. I've just overshot my campsite to come into Corfe Castle, so there is the castle. That's probably a better view of it, less bleached. We're just going to cross the River Corfe here. There's a bridge there. Footpath either side. The right hand one goes round the bottom of the hill, and the left one goes along to like a little picnic area where you get some views of the river. That's it down there. That's quite nice along there actually. But it's beer time, or beer purchase time anyway. That's pretty spectacular at night actually. I was coming along to Lulworth Cove Youth Hostel one night, the end of a 200-kilometre DIY, where I would finish at a youth hostel, and I remember getting the Swanage ferry across and riding along here in the pitch black looking up at that. That's pretty spectacular. Right, coming into the village, I better put my camera away. There's a heritage railway there heading down to that was a heritage railway on the other side of the road, heading down to Swanage. So I just came down to Main Road, came up into the village, which is very, very busy. Got myself 4 pints of lager for a £5, bargain. I didn't really want 4, but hey ho, I might give one away. Lovely little waterfall there. I'm going to go back along that lane. I'm going to overshoot the campsite I saw, because I've seen on Google Maps there's a farm a bit further along, but on the other side of the river, this south side of the river. So I'm going to try that first. I think it's Bucknell Farm. Anyway, I roughly know where I'm going. It's so busy here. I'm just going to ride along this bit of pavement. Just as I got down that T-junction, one of the heritage trains steam engine went along the other side. It's that lovely smell of smoke and steam. It's just literally up there on the right hand side, hovering up over the road. Right, need to get up and walk here. There's pavement. You can see it's a very busy road, which is why I just came along the pavement here. There's the railway viaduct up there. That road over there is across to the Studland ferry, which will take you over to Poole. I'm just going to head back down there. But the town centre, the village was heaving actually. The stores was quite busy as well, but you know, I wanted beer, stopped and had an ice cream, just took it all in. Now I'm really quite keen to get checked into a campsite and get my tent up. So Corfe Castle camping is along there, but literally a quarter of a mile, then up left. But this is what I'm going to go and investigate. Bucknell Farm camping down that gravel track. Looks a lot more simple, my kind of sort of thing really. I'll go and see if I can get in there first. If not, we'll go back to the other one.